You shouldn't have shame about renting. You shouldn't feel like you're throwing your money away. In some cases, buying might be a better financial choice because you have to put money into your home every single month. One of the biggest cons of home ownership is that everything is on you.
Sucks.
It's your
Super
responsibility, right? In LA, we're talking 17 years before you break even. In Seattle, it's almost 20 years.
Wow.
And then in San Francisco and San Jose, you never break even. Renting still wins out after a 30-year time horizon.
Support for the show comes from Walmart. If you're ready for summer vibes but don't want to spend a lot, Walmart's got your back. Right now, Walmart's dropping prices with thousands of rollbacks and more on summer party essentials, from grills to coolers and even slushy machines. So whether you're firing up, cooling down, or just getting ready for a weekend in the sun, now's your time to save. Shop and save in the Walmart app, online, and in stores today. Should you rent or buy real estate? I mean, it's an age-old question. And frankly, can you even afford to buy where you live? There's a story that we've all been told that buying a home is the smart, the responsible, the adult thing to do. And that if you're renting, well, you're just lighting money on fire and you are trash. So many of us have felt behind, like we're failing adulthood, just because we haven't bought a home yet. But what if I told you, depending on where you live, how long you plan to stay in the home, that renting might actually be the more financially sound decision? My guest today is Amanda Pendleton, a homes trend expert at Zillow, and we are here to discuss a brand new analysis that essentially shows the old rules of real estate, well, they don't apply anymore. By the end of this conversation, you are going to have the tools and resources you need to make an educated decision about whether or not you want to buy or rent. Not some advice from your parents and not some outdated rule of thumb. Let's get into it.
It's so great to be here. I'm so excited to talk all about this because I think everyone has an opinion, right, about whether you should rent or whether you should buy. And I'm here to say that they are all right, just in different zip codes.
I love that. Well, first off, thank you so much for joining me. We are going to talk all things real estate today and how and when to actually consider buying a home. So I need to know, what are the places or cities right now where people are getting the best bang for their buck when actually buying?
Yeah. So Zillow's recent rent versus buy analysis found that nationwide, buyers are breaking even on a home in 6 years. But it really depends on where you live. So we found in places like Columbus, Indianapolis, Memphis, Buffalo, that's where buyers are breaking even in 4 years. In those metro areas, buying's still a slam dunk. It's absolutely the best financial decision.
And I have to ask the flip side, where are places that, not that people should avoid buying, but maybe it doesn't necessarily pay off to buy in those 6 years?
Yeah, the math is a lot tougher in some of the more expensive coastal metro areas. So in LA, we're talking 17 years before you break even. In Seattle, it's almost 20 years.
Wow.
In San Diego, 24 years. Here in New York, it's 12 and a half years.
Okay.
And then in San Francisco and San Jose, you never break even. Renting still wins out after a 30-year time horizon.
Wow. Yeah. That is crazy because you hear all of the rumors that people say like, oh, San Francisco, the hardest housing market, but it's true.
No, it's absolutely true. The conditions are just really tough there. And what we found was that home prices are so disconnected from rents that even after a 30-year time horizon, you never really catch up as a buyer. Even with steady home value appreciation, and we're seeing really strong home value appreciation in the Bay Area because of this big AI boom, right? But renters who take that money that they would have put into a down payment and invest it in the market, they come out $564,000 ahead of a buyer after 30 years.
Whoa. Okay, I want to get into that in a second. But before we even talk about the logistics and the math, I want to get into the psychology. Buying a home has been treated as making it for so long. It's literally part of the American dream. You want to have the house, the white picket fence, your 2.5 kids, the golden retriever named Rover. Why is it so hard to shake that idea of that being a success milestone, even when you literally just told me in some of these cities, it takes a really long time to break even, or in some cases, you never do?
I think the American dream is just so ingrained
Hmm.
in our culture. It's something that we've been told from a very young age that we need to accomplish. And in fact, even in all of Zillow's surveys, and we put out the largest, most comprehensive survey of buyers, sellers, renters, and future movers, and we find that Gen Z is the most optimistic about their ability to achieve homeownership in the future, and they're the most excited about it, right? They still want that white picket fence just as badly as previous generations did, if and when they can afford it. And today, that really comes down to where you live.
You mentioned that Gen Z feels the most optimistic about buying that home. I feel like that's quite counterintuitive to kind of what I've been seeing online. People always joke like, "Oh, I'm never going to buy a home, so I might as well get that little treat today, get that coffee today." Can you talk to me about that disconnect?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's youthful optimism,
Yeah.
right? That you think at some point this is going to happen for me. But actually, what we found in our research is 37% of Gen Z renters say they plan to buy their next home. And 64% of Gen Z renters say that they considered buying during their most recent rental search. So I think they're really comparing all their options, right? They're looking at rentals on Zillow, then they're toggling back to the for sale side, and they're really just trying to find the best deal. And for some of them, it's going to be buying. For some of them, it's going to be renting.
What do you think that these young people need to actually be thinking about when they are going through that process of like, should I rent or buy my next place?
Right. I think you really need to ask yourself kind of three big questions. And
Yeah.
the first one is, can I actually afford this? Right? I think everybody stretches a little bit to
Yeah.
be able to achieve home ownership, and that's normal. But if you're stretching to the point where it's uncomfortable and your monthly payments are so high that you can't afford an emergency like a job loss or medical emergency
Yeah.
or a big home repair, right? You're probably not in a strong enough financial position to buy right now. The second thing is like, how long do I plan to actually be here? And not just how long do I plan to be in the city? How long do I plan to be in this home? Is this home going to be the right home for me in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, right? When it finally starts making financial sense to actually own that home. And I think you really have to kind of future cast your life. Like, what's my life going to look like in a decade? Is this home going to work for me if I have one kid or two kids or when my kids are teenagers? Like, these are things you actually have to think about when you're buying today. And then the third thing is really like, what's the life that I want out of my home beyond just shelter? Do I want that backyard garden? Do I want a menagerie of pets? Like, those things are really hard to achieve when you're renting.
Yeah.
But maybe you're saying, do I actually want to mow my lawn every Saturday?
Ew.
And do I want to be able to pick up and move if I happen to get that dream job that was in another city?
Yeah.
That's hard to do if you own a home. So those lifestyle questions are almost as important, if not more important, than the financial questions right now.
I feel like that those were such gold nuggets. Okay, guys? So remember, can you afford any emergencies?
Yeah.
How long are you going to stay there? And are you going to have your own Emily in Paris moment where you're going to be able to, actually leave?
Yeah. Pick
Those
up
are
and
the
leave.
three. Yeah. Now, what would you like to share with our audience about what I would call the average buyer? I think a lot of people have been a little disillusioned by social media. They're seeing 23-year-olds move into these 7-bedroom homes that literally look Instagram perfect, but the stats tell a very different story. I think the average buyer is in their 40s, right?
Yeah, the average age of a buyer today is 44 years old. And actually, the average age of a first-time buyer is now 40 years old, according to the National Association of Realtors. That's actually the oldest that we've seen ever.
Yeah.
So buyers are aging. And when you're aging and you're buying a home and it's your first home at 40 years old, your life probably looks a little bit different, right? You're more established in your career. You're probably shopping with a spouse or with a partner. You've probably got a whole household to keep in mind. You got pets, you got kids. So I think the decisions are different and your needs are different when you're shopping kind of later in life. I mean, 40 is, you're still young.
Yeah. And you mentioned a little bit earlier the math.
Yeah.
And I want to get into it because this is a finance show. People often say that they feel like they're throwing money away on rent. What does that actually mean? Is it real? And what would you say to someone who's feeling that way?
Yeah, I think first of all, you shouldn't have shame about renting.
Mhm.
And you shouldn't feel like you're throwing your money away because actually, in a lot of these major metro areas, these expensive coastal metros, renting is the smarter financial decision if you're not going to be there for the very, very, very long term,
Mhm.
right? So I think the thing with renting that we don't consider is that there's a huge opportunity to take the money and to take the savings that you would have put into a home and to invest that money.
Mm.
And that's a path to building wealth. And it's actually the better path to building wealth in some of these expensive metro areas if you're not planning to be in the same home for 17, 18, 20 years.
Yeah. What would you say about kind of the flip side? Those cities that you named, Columbus,
Mhm.
Indianapolis, kind of those Midwestern cities, Buffalo. Um, what advice would you give folks who are trying to buy in an area like that versus something like a coastal city?
Right. So first of all, the math is just a lot
Yeah.
different if you're trying to purchase a home in a more affordable city. These places like Columbus and Indianapolis and Buffalo and Memphis, they have this combination of really favorable conditions that I think a lot of people overlook. So homes are still relatively affordable, but rents aren't that cheap. So the difference on a monthly basis between owning and renting is actually pretty small.
Mm.
Plus, you add in kind of steady home value appreciation, and very quickly buyers start coming out ahead in those markets.
Mm. And you keep mentioning like, oh, it makes sense and you break even after X number of years. Is there some sort of calculator that we can use to actually compare things like price, interest rates, down payment to calculate what makes sense for us?
Yeah, I should say that when we talk about the break-even
Yeah.
point, so we're talking about sort of the general for a typical buyer, right?
Yes.
Everybody's personal break-even point is going to be different.
Yeah.
Zillow has a buy versus rent calculator that you can use. You can plug in, how much you want to pay on a monthly basis, what home price you're interested in, and it will show you your personal break-even point because it's different, right? When we're talking about nationally, we're looking at a home that's valued at $360,000. That's the typical home value
Mhm.
nationwide. Now, not a lot of people are finding homes that are $360,000,
$60,000.
right? So if you're shopping in the $500,000 range, your break-even point is going to be different.
Mm. Oh, man, I feel like a lot of people, especially those who live in the major metros like a Miami or New York, like they feel entirely priced out. Is
Right.
there a version of this decision that isn't buy now or buy never? Like, what does smart renting look like as a financial strategy? And is there a time that you would buy even if the math didn't make sense? Like if you knew that you were going to be there for like 50 years?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tackle that first. I I think the financial math is really tough right now, right? But there's a lot of great benefits to buying that are never going to show up on a spreadsheet.
Hmm.
You get stability. You have this monthly payment that's set for the rest of your life. You can customize every corner of your home and paint all the walls pink if you want,
Yeah.
right? You can put down roots in a community. So I think these are really wonderful benefits of buying a home, but you're paying a premium for that. So I
Hmm.
would just say go in with your eyes wide open and understand that you're going to be paying a little bit extra to have some of these benefits of
Hmm.
buying. And that if you want to buy in these expensive metro areas and you can afford it and you are financially and emotionally ready, go for it. Absolutely. By all means. Like buying, there's so many wonderful things that come with buying a home and owning a home. I think on the rent side, you have to really know yourself.
Hmm.
And you have to know if you have the discipline to take the money that you're saving by not putting into a home and you're going to invest that wisely. And you're going to put that into a mutual fund or an index fund. And you're going to keep it there. And you're not going to pull it out to go on a shopping spree or on a vacation with your girlfriends. So I think like part of this is knowing yourself, knowing how you act with money. And in some cases, buying might be a better financial choice because it's forced savings.
Hmm.
You have to put money into your home every single month. You're forced to. So, for some people who may not have the discipline with money, buying could actually be a better path.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Because they're essentially making sure that their home is like a store of value.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, when you think about a home, homes typically hold their value or they appreciate in value because of what they are, right? When you're buying a home, you're buying a tiny piece of the earth. And there's only so much of that to go around. So home prices are pretty stable. We usually see them either stay put or go up in value.
And I want to pivot really quickly. And this is a more like holistic trend that we have seen complaints about just year over year over year. Housing supply versus housing demand is not like this. It's supplies here, demand is all the way up here. Are we seeing trends to fix that? What are the solutions that we even have to make sure that more people can buy a home if they choose to?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think the affordability crisis that we're in is that Econ 101 problem. It's the supply and demand mismatch. And I think we have to sort of get our arms around what's behind this problem before we can actually fix it. So on the demand side, it's really generational factors. So we have millennials, largest generation that we've ever seen, largest generation in this country. 74 million millennials are out there, and they're aging into their home buying years. So they're in their mid-30s, late 30s. They're now up to their mid-40s, and so they want to settle down and they want to buy a home. At the same time, we have baby boomers who, instead of vacating the suburban homes that they purchased in the 1980s, they're healthier and they're living longer and they want to age in place and they don't want to go to Shady Acres. So they either stay put or they're downsizing to smaller, more affordable homes that the millennials want, right? So we just sort of
have
our
competition, Amanda.
Exactly. We have this like huge generational war happening, these two groups who are competing for the same types of homes. At the same time, like on the supply side, we're coming off of years and years and years of underbuilding that started after the Great Recession and the housing crash. And builders are finally building again, but like we are digging ourselves out of this massive hole. In fact, Zillow research finds we're about 4.6 million homes short of where we should be to have one for everybody who wants one. So, when you think about it that way, the long-term solution is really that we got to build more homes. We have to support policies that encourage more building at the local, at the state, and at the federal level. And then the short-term solution is, we do think that we're going to start seeing some affordability gains as incomes start to rise. Because we're kind of in this moment right now where home prices are pretty stable. They're not rapidly appreciating. So we think if home prices kind of stay where they're at now, if we can get a little bit of mortgage rate relief with some inflation relief, and if we can get energy prices under control, that's going to help. And in the meantime, incomes will continue to rise, and that's going to sort of slowly close that affordability gap. But we're talking incremental progress. It's not going to be like a light switch and suddenly everyone can afford a home.
A trend that I've just been seeing across social media is what I'd call creative home buying, multi-generational housing where you've got the grandparents, parents, and kids maybe even living in the same home. Maybe it's buying with a crew of your friends. Maybe it's buying with a sibling versus the more traditional, this is my spouse. Me and my spouse bought this house. What's your take on, this more like new wave of buying?
Yeah, no, we are seeing a lot of those trends take hold as affordability has become kind of a bigger and bigger issue. It's just under 15% of buyers today are purchasing with a friend or with a family member. And that's sort of a rising trend. It is, absolutely, especially compared to where we were, say, pre-pandemic. The other trend we're seeing is house hacking. So that is where people purchase a home with the intention of renting out part of that home either right away or at some point in the future. So it's this idea that I'm going to use my home to build, to generate income and to build wealth that way. And, if someone else is renting out the guest room, that helps with my monthly mortgage payment.
It's like when you get like a duplex and you live in the basement and then you let them have the floor above and they're paying for part of your mortgage.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. What do you think about also the trend of people not purchasing their primary residence, but actually looking at investment properties? Like, why are people doing that?
Right. No, we have seen people who live in really expensive coastal metro areas
Yeah.
saying, I can't afford to buy here,
Uh-huh.
but maybe I can afford to buy in, my childhood town or wherever it is. And so they choose that path by purchasing elsewhere, renting that home, and with the idea of maybe at some point in the future I'll move there,
Yeah.
or just using it as an investment tool.
Yeah.
I think that was really effective when mortgage rates were at 3%.
Mm-hmm.
I think the math is harder now,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's trying to say, okay, can I earn more in rent than I would that would cover my mortgage and then some?
Yeah.
And I think that's increasingly challenging as rates have kind of passed 6%.
Support for the show comes from Walmart. We know Walmart has low prices, but did you know they do price rollbacks too? Right now, Walmart is dropping prices with thousands of rollbacks and more on the items you've been eyeing to upgrade your summer vibes. Imagine yourself lounging in the sun, enjoying some nice grill time, an ice-cold slushie, and hanging out with all your favorite people. Summer parties are the best, and we could all use one, like right now. So check out Walmart and save on that big cooler that always comes in clutch for group hangs, or a sleek new grill so you can finally become the grilling master. Not to mention saving on that fun slushie machine that instantly turns any hangout into an epic party. For all your summer activities, whether you're outdoor biking or poolside lounging, Walmart's got it for way less. Do your future self a favor and save on your summer faves now. You can start saving and shop these amazing summer rollbacks and more right now in the Walmart app, online, and in stores. Hi friends, quick pause in our show to take a question from my besties in Phone a Friend, presented by Walmart. Lena asks, how can shoppers make the most of Labor Day weekend savings events on big ticket items like appliances and furniture? Labor Day savings events mean one thing. Home furniture, outdoor furniture, and appliances are all about to hit record low prices. This also means that anything else marked down should just be an afterthought when it comes to prioritizing your spending. Here are some things to remember. First off, do your homework before Labor Day hits. Start researching prices on the appliances and furniture you need at least a month ahead. Create a spreadsheet with current prices from multiple retailers so you can spot genuine deals versus fake markups. Many stores inflate prices before sales, so knowing the real baseline is crucial for big purchases. Target the right categories for maximum savings. Labor Day is historically one of the best times for appliances, mattresses, and outdoor furniture since retailers are clearing summer inventory and making room for fall merchandise. You'll typically see the deepest discounts on washers, dryers, grills, and patio sets. Electronics and furniture also see solid markdowns. Leverage retailer price matching policies. Many stores will match competitor pricing during Labor Day weekend, so you don't have to run around town. Some retailers even offer price adjustments if you buy something before the sale and it goes on sale within their return window. This can help you secure items before they sell out while still getting that sale price. You can also stack your savings strategically, use store rewards cards and cashback credit cards that offer bonus rewards on home improvement or furniture purchases, and don't forget about cashback apps too. For major appliances, make sure to check if your utility company offers rebates for energy efficient models. Now, back to our show. When people actually run the rent versus buy math themselves, what costs do you think people forget? Like, what is actually in that calculation aside from just the mortgage payment?
Yeah. So when we did this analysis, we took a look at all the costs involved in buying. So that's your mortgage payment, obviously, but that's also your property taxes, that's your insurance, that's your maintenance, that's your closing costs, and it's the opportunity cost of money that you didn't invest outside of that home. And in fact, Zillow did some research and we found that the hidden costs of homeownership, so property tax and insurance and maintenance, add up to more than $15,000 a year on your typical home. That's something a lot of people don't even think about or budget for when they're thinking about purchasing their first home.
And it's more for us coastal elites. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it is. It is, right? That's for your typical American home valued at $360,000. It is significantly more if you're in a more expensive metro area.
Ugh, man. I'm going to tell you a story, but it's going to lead into a question. This past holiday season, my husband and I came back to our apartment after visiting family, going on a little bit of a trip, and our HVAC was broken. And so I was like, this is interesting because it is the coldest it has ever felt in New York City. And now we have no heat.
Oh,
That's a problem. That ended up being $10,000 to fix.
wow.
And I was so annoyed. But can you talk me through, like, if I was your little sister and you were giving me advice, like, what are the cons of both buying and the cons of renting, just so that I can go in eyes wide open?
Sure. So, I mean, I think that you hit on one of the biggest cons of
Yeah.
home ownership is that everything is on you.
Sucks.
It's your
Super sucks.
responsibility, right? It's your responsibility to fix everything when it breaks. It's your responsibility to maintain your property, to make sure things don't break, right? And it's constant. Your home is like this living, breathing thing that needs constant maintenance. And that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money. And you have to kind of be willing to do that and to put in the work yourself. And that's not for everybody. I mean, on the rental side, I think the obvious con with renting is that you don't have control over your space.
Yeah.
So you don't have the stability of knowing that I'm going to be here no matter what, as long as I want to be. You know, that's at the discretion of your property manager. So, and then of course, you could also get in a situation where, you know, you're seeing your rent price increase every single year, and there's not much you can do about that without picking up and moving.
Right.
So you kind of lose control when you rent, but you don't have to deal with the broken HVAC or the leaky faucet or any other emergency that happens when you're out on vacation. And then, of course, when you're buying, the benefit is that you do have that stability and you do have that fixed monthly payment, but you got to put in the work yourself.
So let's pretend I am someone who has decided that buying makes sense for me. What's kind of like the smartest first move that I should make if I don't have a ton of cash set aside for a down payment?
Yeah. So I think number one, you got to get your financial ducks in a row.
Okay, what's that look like?
That is your credit score, number one, improving your credit score. I think a lot of people don't realize how closely tied your credit score is to the mortgage, like the mortgage rate you're going to be able to qualify for.
Yeah.
So if you can work to improve your credit score, your debt to income ratio, you're going to be
Explain
in a
to
much...
us what the debt to income ratio is.
Sure. So it really is how much money you're bringing in and then how much is going out the door every single month and how much you owe. So those, that's your student loans, any kind of credit card debt that you might have, maybe a car payment, or a car loan, right? That's the debt. And then, of course, the income's the money that you're bringing in. So, getting those kind of closer aligned certainly helps. And then improving your credit score is going to put you in a stronger position to qualify for a lower mortgage rate. And that is really going to improve your monthly payment. So your monthly payment is going to go down. You're going to qualify for more home. You're going to qualify for a better rate. You're just in a much stronger financial position to buy. So that's the first thing, is to get your financial ducks in a row. The second thing I would say is, like, understand how much you can actually afford. We've got a great tool to do this. It's Zillow's buyability tool allows you to plug in some of your information, and then you can see exactly how much you're likely to qualify for in real time. So if rates fall, you're going to see more homes enter your buyability. Your buying power increases. That's kind of the easiest way to keep track of volatile rates. And then the third thing I think is to hire a great team. I'm talking about your real estate agent, your loan officer. You want to do your research here. You can't just hire your coworkers, cousins,
Cousin Tony.
sisters. Exactly, right?
Yeah.
This is not the market for that. You want someone who's really experienced. So take a look at client reviews and take a look at agent profiles online, and take a look at sales history. And then call these people up and see if it's the right fit for you. Like, this person is going to essentially be your therapist and your life coach through this process. So you want to make sure that you're hiring the right people.
And we've talked a lot about mortgages. Do you have a strong opinion on like a 30-year fixed mortgage, like a 10-1 ARM, or a 15-year mortgage? Like, how do you encourage people to think about that?
Yeah, this is an incredibly personal
Yeah.
decision that really comes down to your finances and what that looks like, and really your time horizon as well. I think, the traditional 30-year fixed mortgage with a 20% down payment is kind of, it's the sweet spot because you avoid primary mortgage
Yep.
insurance and you can probably get the best possible mortgage rate that you're going to qualify for with that kind of traditional loan. But that said, it's not for everybody. And some people don't mind having a higher monthly payment if they can pay off their home faster. So, that's again why you want to get the right loan officer who can kind of walk
Mhm.
you through all these products and explain, like, here are the differences and here's what might be right for you. And I think the other thing about mortgages is that people think that the price of a mortgage is the same everywhere, and it's
Hmm.
not at all.
Talk to me about that.
Well, so it's kind of like gas prices, right? Where they're all kind of generally in the same range, but if you drive a few blocks, maybe you can get cheaper gas. The same thing with a mortgage. You got to shop around for your mortgage rate. And nobody does that. More
Mm.
people shop around for their TV, for their
Mhm.
cell phone, for their car than for their mortgage, which is nuts because that mortgage rate is literally the financial lever that will control your life for the next 30 years.
Yeah. Oof. What's the best way to shop around?
I mean, there's so many resources now online. That's a great way to start. Compare prices or compare rates and compare fees. But then you want to get on the phone. You want
Yeah.
to talk to some lenders, see who you like, and see what your personal situation will qualify you for.
Mm. In our apartment buying journey, this was a couple years ago, we actually pit two lenders against each other. And then they got into like a race to the bottom type
Yeah.
war. And ultimately, we ended up with a much better rate and much better terms on our loan just because two banks were competing for our business.
Right. And that happens all the
Yeah.
time. And I think people feel guilty about that. They say,
Hell no, you're the prize.
you are the prize. No, absolutely. I mean, that's the best thing you can get, right? You get quotes from a number of different places, and then you say, "Hey, like, can you do better? Like, here's the quote I got from this
Yeah.
person." So,
Yeah. Amazing. And a lot of people assume, you mentioned 20% has been the traditional down payment.
mhm.
What down payment assistance or low down payment options are out there that our listeners might not even know exist?
Yeah. So, first of all, I think what's great about being a buyer today is that there's a lot more down payment assistance out
Mm-hmm.
there. And Zillow lists all the down payment assistance programs on every single listing. So they're accessible, it's available, this is free money, and there's a lot of programs, particularly for first time buyers.
Mm.
So that's out there. There are loans and mortgages out there as low as 3% down
Mm-hmm.
for first time buyers. The question is that going to be the right fit for you?
Right.
If you're using that as an excuse to get into a home that you can't actually afford,
Mm.
it's probably not the right path. And you have to understand that when you're putting less money down, you're paying a lot more money on a monthly basis.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know, can I actually afford these monthly payments with this ultra low down payment?
Mm. If you could give every single first-time home buyer a piece of advice that kind of goes against conventional wisdom, what would it be?
Oh boy. So I think that most first-time home buyers are doing everything backwards.
Ooh, explain.
So I think most people start their search. They're on Zillow. They're watching TV.
Yeah.
They got a glass
By
of
the way,
wine.
my husband scrolls Zillow like it's Instagram, and I look over and he's looking at a house that's $15 million.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
like, okay, you need to tell me now, I've passed the loyalty test, that you have a secret trust fund, like your family's secretly billionaires, because how are we going to afford that?
No, it's dreaming,
Yeah,
right? You're just
yeah.
dreaming and imagining all the possibilities of living in that $15 million
Yeah.
home, which is fun and it's escapism. And
Yeah.
that's why people love to surf Zillow.
And other people do this, right?
Oh, everybody
Okay.
does this. This is the national pastime.
Yeah.
I think the problem is when you are surfing Zillow
Mhm.
and then you fall in love.
Mm.
And now you want to buy that home
Mhm.
and you are scrambling to get a mortgage and you're scrambling to put your finances together and to hire an agent, and you end up with a mortgage rate that's really high, or you end up with an agent who's not great,
Mhm.
and you either overpay for that home or it's too late and you miss out.
Mm.
I think what first-time buyers really need to understand is that they've got to finance first. They've got
Ooh.
to secure the mortgage. They have to understand what they're actually going to qualify for and get pre-approved before they even start shopping.
Mhm.
And it's not sexy. And it's not as fun
Mhm.
as surfing Zillow at midnight in your bed. But it's going to put you in the strongest financial position so that when that dream home comes along, you're ready.
So people go backwards. They look at the houses first, but what they should actually be looking at the houses last.
That should be the last step in this process. The
Oh.
first step should be financing. The second step should be lining up your team, hiring that great agent, finding a great loan officer, getting that mortgage locked down. Then you can do the fun stuff.
Oh, but Amanda, that's so far away. Oh, but no, that's excellent
No,
advice.
you do have to put in the work
Yeah.
first.
Okay, let's move into a fun little lightning round, and you're just going to answer as quickly as you can, okay? First question. Do you rent or buy in your own life?
I am a homeowner, a proud homeowner.
Ooh.
I was lucky enough we purchased our most recent home 10 years ago.
Okay.
I can't believe it's been 10 years, but I am a renovation addict. So
You are.
I am. So that's kind of the greatest joy of homeownership for me, is that I get everything exactly the way I want it.
Mhm. Okay.
And that's what I enjoy about
Love.
homeownership.
Biggest green flag in a listing?
Oh boy. So what I want now versus what I wanted back then is very different. Biggest green flag, I think, for me is probably the property itself. Like,
Mm.
the house is one thing. You can fix the house, but the location, the property, the land, that's the stuff that's never going to change. So I would say, location and layout, if those things check your boxes, then those are the green flags.
Biggest red flag that everybody ignores?
In a home particularly?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You can give me a couple if you have a couple.
In today's market, I think most people don't want to take on a major project.
Yep.
So, if there are usually some signals in a listing that a property needs a lot of work.
Mhm.
And if you want to take on those projects and you've got DIY skills and you've got the cash to fix it up, amazing, fantastic. Most people are not in that situation.
Mhm.
So I would kind of look at hints that, need some TLC.
Yeah.
Or,
Good bones.
Good bones. That
Mhm.
usually means there's going to be a big price tag
Mhm.
associated with those fixes.
This will be an easy one for you. What's the home upgrade that's actually worth the money?
Wow. Okay. So in today's market, what we're seeing is that people really want their homes to feel like a retreat. So features like if you have like a fire pit, which is pretty affordable to
Yeah.
install, that's going to bring you some like serious cash returns on resale. So things like a fire pit, an outdoor dining area.
A hibachi grill.
Yeah, a pizza oven. A pizza oven is like one of the hottest features right now
Yeah.
in homes. Little things that are like kind of small luxuries in your
Yeah.
home really elevate it in the mind of a buyer, and therefore it contributes to seriously higher sale prices when it's time to sell.
Love that. What's the home upgrade that's a total waste of money?
A gold toilet, a gold-plated toilet.
Toilet.
No, I think, really expensive bathroom renovations and really expensive kitchen renovations across the board return some of the worst returns on investment. Those spaces are kind of personal spaces, and people don't want a really customized kitchen if they're not gourmet
Yeah.
home chefs, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to have to pay for that. And, the same thing with the bathroom, right? It's just a bathroom. You don't need the gold-plated toilet,
Yeah.
and buyers aren't going to be paying extra to
And
get
maybe they
that.
don't like the sink you chose.
Maybe they don't like your design choices.
Yeah.
I think kind of keep it generic in the bathroom. If you're going to renovate your kitchen because you love to cook and you want to use it that way,
Mhm.
awesome. But if you're just thinking about resale, I would go pretty bare bones in the kitchen.
What's the most overrated piece of real estate advice?
Well, I think it's this, it's everything that we've been talking about
Yeah.
today. It's this idea that buying is the only path to building wealth.
Mhm.
And I think traditionally it has been. That worked for our parents' generation.
Worked really well for them, too.
It worked really well. If you bought your home 30 years ago, it's now worth 4 times
Yeah.
what you paid for. In today's market, we're not seeing that kind of home value appreciation, and we're seeing really high costs of entry. So I think this idea that your ticket to wealth and prosperity is through your house and through your house alone
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily apply and doesn't actually make a lot of sense.
Okay, so you've already given us a couple amazing resources like the Zillow rent versus buy calculator, the buyability calculator. Is there one more that you can share with us that our listeners can run their own numbers?
Yes. Oh, we've got this brand new tool. This is my new favorite house buying hack. It's called the Plan tab. You're hearing about it first. It's essentially your step-by-step instructions to buying a home. It kind of brings you up to date on where you're at financially, plus what you need to do next. I think when you buy a home, it's almost like you're trying to install a piece of IKEA furniture without the instructions. No, it's chaos, right? And so the Plan tab is the instructions. It's literally your guide. Okay, start here. Now do this. Now do this. So I love that. It just makes the whole journey easier.
Amazing. And for everybody listening, we will go ahead and link those either in the caption or in the show notes so you can find them yourself. Amanda, thank you so much for joining me. And please tell everybody where we can find you and where we can find more about Zillow.
Yeah, I think everybody knows where to find Zillow.
We all have the app downloaded. I'm using it at midnight.
But of course, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram. I would love to connect. And I love this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks to Walmart for their support. Take it from me, your rich BFF. There's always smarter ways to save. Walmart's got thousands of rollbacks and more to help you save on summer faves with low prices that make saving feel like it's part of the plan. From essentials like sunscreen to that new grill you've been eyeing, Walmart has the savings you want to help you stay on track with those financial goals. So shop now in the Walmart app, online, and in stores to save big time. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Networth and Chill, part of the Vox Media Podcast Network. If you liked the episode, make sure to leave a rating and review and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Got a burning financial question that you want covered in a future episode? Write to us via podcast@yourrichbff.com. Follow Networth and Chill Pod on Instagram to stay up to date on all podcast-related news. And you can follow me @yourrichbff for even more financial know-how. See you next week. Bye!